The League is Breach 2.0. What skill is best for Breach? Bows. So this is Bow League hype time. Hey, I'm Cyclon, and today I'm sharing with you my League starter for the 3.27 Keepers of the Flame League. So why is it Bow League hype time? Why is it bows? Well, bows are amazing, but what bow skill are I'm actually talking about? Well, actually all of them. That's right, this is Manaforged Bow, where we use as many bow skills as we have sockets to fit them in. Now, before I go into detail about my League starter, I do want to explain my choice and my choosing process, or my approach to choosing my League starter real quick. As it is an approach that not a lot of people do, but I think more people should be doing. And that is a content first approach. This means that I choose the content I want to play, and then I don't play the build that is most optimized for the content, but rather I play the build that is good at that content and I really gonna be enjoying. So I choose the content I want to do, then I look at all the builds I might be enjoying for that content, and then from these I choose my best option. And so in my example, with this league being Breach and a massive nerf to Giga Juiced endgame, I wanted a build that can clear breaches as fast as possible, as early as possible, and then maybe adding some Legion or Beyond on top, which gave me 3 options for a build. I had the option of going with Exsang Mines Trickster, which is a build I actually really like, and I can recommend it to anybody that is unsure what content to go for, as it is the perfect all-rounder. It has great single target capabilities, it can be optimized for clear, having really great clear, and can utilize a headhunter really well, as it is a fist conversion skill. We're converting fist to cold in that case. And it is also really good at building tankiness in current endgame. There are not many builds that can build proper tankiness, but Exsang Mines Trickster really can do that. So why am I swarming so much about the build but still not choosing it? Well, the reason for that is it's how it is played and how it starts the league. It really becomes online after maybe a little bit of investment. So first of all, you're gonna be progressing through maps, likely with Reap, as it has more single target than Exsang. You're gonna progress through your Atlas, you get into the bosses, you're gonna be doing a little bossing, which gets you your first couple of currency, and then you invest further into the build, and then we can really shine at mapping. But it needs this initial phase, which bossing is the best content for it, before it really starts to shine as a mapper with Exsang. But I want to be in breaches as fast as possible, so this means that while it is a really great build, again, I can recommend it to anybody that is unsure what content specifically they want to go for, it has all the options open. But for me, again, it just is not the right build. I already know what I want to do, and it's just not as good as the other 2 options for that. So then the next option I have is the Wander. The Wander looks amazing. It got Kinetic Rain, Wall of Force or Force Wall, the new wand bases, the buffs to kinetic skills, everything aligns for this being a Wander league. Don't get me wrong, I can see it. But there's gonna be a little bit too much hype on Wander that I think going both first, and if it's really that amazing and that busted as everybody expects it to be, transition into the Wander afterwards. And if it isn't, if it's too expensive or it isn't great enough, well, then I can just stick on both and I have a working build. Which brings me to my last option, which I'm gonna be choosing, which is the PoB Deadeye. And to reiterate on this, I'm perfectly happy, or would have perfectly been happy with all 3 of these builds. And I chose the one that I think is giving me the best options while still gonna be an absolute blast for me. So with this, we are now on the PoB Deadeye choice. Before I'm gonna continue with this video real quick though, I want to mention that I'm trying to keep this video as compact as possible, and sometimes this causes me not explaining small details. If anything is unclear, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, feel free to message me on Discord or during a live stream on Twitch or YouTube, and I will try to answer everything as quick as possible or add any further explanation as needed. Now that said, let's take a look at this build. For the build, I've created a couple ways you can get to the PoB. Mobalytics now also supports Path of Exile 1, meaning that I am now able to make my videos even more compact. A lot of these small details I usually need to explain into the video, how the build works, what really important, I can now put in writing, and I can only really mention the most important factors in the video, or an overview of how the build overall works, and all the small details you can either write or you can ask me in the comments or again on Discord or live stream. Now it is a slight inconvenience, I apologize for the slight inconvenience everyone, but I also give you an alternative. If you don't want to go over Mobalytics because for whatever reason, I also have my website where I will be linking not just the leveling PoBs, the actual League Starter PoB, I will also be linking daily updates. So on my website you can find under the build section all the updates, everything important, and of course just all the PoBs in there as well as links to the video I will be making and any further build I'm going to be starting with the League. Also can find my layouts here and the campaign layouts for PoE 1 and all my strat overviews of every strat I'm aware of, but the strat overview I will be updating on the next couple days. Now let's talk about the build itself. Enough rambling about everything else. The PoB will include 3 layouts. It also includes one additional tree, which is the transition tree between the leveling version, which you can find a link to either on my website or on the written guide, and this version. So we are in the early versions, we are still using precise technique, and then we are starting to transition into this bow Deadeye with Manaforged skills. So when we start the transition, we are very quickly wanting to swap from being precise technique build, which is a really great way for campaign, but it falls off in the end game. As you can see here, if I would allocate this, I will lose 40% DPS instead of gaining DPS, just because of our easy access into crit on a ranger. By combining the nodes Cornered Prey with Lethality, King of the Hill, and Diamond Flask, we almost have our crit chance capped already. We keep hitting so much that even with 60% crit chance we are fine. And as we approach further investment stages of the build, we further increase our crit chance till we reach almost always to always critting. So it's really easy for us to spec into crit and then utilize crit for massive damage boost. Other notable things that I should be mentioning on the tree is when do we want to swap to Tornado Shot. For Tornado Shot, early on we can do it with Piercing, but it isn't as great. So I generally recommend keep Pierce till you have a 5 link and your 4th lab. When you have the 4th lab, either keep with Pierce and use Focal Point if you really want that additional damage, or swap to Tornado Shot and use Ricochet, which gives you Chain. And at that point we can drop the Pierce nodes, we utilize Chain, and we have amazing clear and amazing single target thanks to Tornado Shot shotgunning potential. Another great note is that I'm planning to use 2 Inspired Learnings. Now with 1 guaranteed breach each map and me hoping to add Legion and Beyond on top, I'm expecting to kill a lot of rares. Normally we only want 1 Inspired Learning, as the 2nd Inspired Learning can try to grant the same modifier the first one gives. So basically having too many Headhunters can compete with each other and we don't get the benefit from it. But if we use in a content where we have a lot of rares, we get so many of those to proc that we just have enough modifiers that we steal from all of them that we don't cause too many overlaps between those two. And that's why I'm planning to use 2. Now what is important for the Inspired Learning is that they need 4 notables in range. So on the upper one it's easy, we have Blood Drinker, Depth Perception, Frenetic, and Infused. Now that's fine, but on the lower one, it looks like it would reach Inveterate, but it does actually not. So we need Fervor, Herbalism, and Heartseeker, and then we can use either aspect of the links, Survivalist, or we are using Acuity. And that enables the second one. Another thing that I've recently learned is that I haven't tested myself, but it does make sense as other nodes behave in the same way. Arcing Shot gains up to 100% increased critical strike chance and up to 50% increased damage with against target. If you have 2 of these, those do not stack. I still need to confirm it myself, but it does make sense that that would be the case. So I'm recommending one arcing shot, feed the Fury cluster, and one cluster with we are using a tech I learned on the Wander, which is Storm Drinker, meaning we have a lot of lightning damage and we can utilize the lightning damage to leech energy shield. So then we have a cluster with Storm Drinker and Disorienting Display to add blind to the build, and to use Storm Drinker for the leech. So it's a really great combination. One last thing to note, I did not meant to enable that, is that in the early stages where we use Tau Ani, we do need the life mastery so that our life dips below max life, even if we are not getting hit. Then we can leech that life back up with Clever Thief or the leech node on the cluster. And then we have leech to full again. We have a chance to proc Adrenaline or chance to proc Onslaught from the Tanu Ahi. It's really great. We just need the uptime with that node for that. Also, instant leech really helps with that, so that's why we are keeping the mastery even after we grab the cluster. Now, those are really all the small details on the passive tree. Other than that, it's just the classic of bow nodes, projectile speed nodes, bow damage or projectile damage, and a little bit of inversion going on. Again, inversion, or not again, but the old information, inversion applies, then penetration applies. So inversion and penetration stacks, but exposure and curses apply before the inversion, so don't use those on this build. Another important thing I need to mention, which is actually better shown on the written guide, is that we are not using inspiration. Normally on bow builds we want inspiration, or on a tech-based build we want inspiration for the crit chance it gives and for the reduced mana cost. However, we want our Manaforged arrows to trigger a lot, so reducing the mana cost too much on our main skill means that we aren't triggering our other bow skills often enough, which is why we aren't using inspiration, so that we have as many procs as possible on our bow skills and just keep the screen filled with arrows. Now, the final thing is that I want to mention is on the gear section of this. We are planning to use a couple of uniques, like Tanu Ahi and Harry's Proof. Those aren't going to be issued. But Inspired Learnings, Dying Sun, and the Fledgling might overlap with what the Wanders want, or it's very likely to overlap. So those might be more expensive than usual. Keep this in mind that you might need to delay buying those and use alternatives such like a Blizzard Crown, such as just another rare flask, and maybe no Inspired Learning and no Headhunter and just blast maps without the buffs, because they are too expensive to be worth it. We need to see what it is. You can see if I'm going to go for them based on my daily PoB updates, but I just wanted to give that warning out, as those might cost more. The Shroud of the Lightness will cost a lot initially because it's a boss only drop and we first need people to reach that content in a broader mass, and then they have a chance to get it dropped once there are some available. We can buy one and we can use it. This unique is really great for the build. It gives us Abyss Socket, which gives us chance for flat damage, chance for crit multi, flat life, which is a source we don't have that much access to, but also gives us increased life per Abyss Jewel, and it gives us Elemental Penetration, which gives us further damage and survivability, making it a really great option, even though it does take 2 sockets off our setup. Still a really great unique I'm planning to use, and again, I will keep you updated with all the changes I'll be doing to the build. All this being said, the video has already been too long. I tried to keep it as compact as possible, but sometimes I still need to explain or ramble a bit. So, you have a wonderful league start, hopefully many divine drops, and I'll be seeing you either in my next video or live stream. Goodbye.